Hey, everybody. Welcome to Nexus at Night, your weekly Vanguard podcast. I'm Atlas.
I'm Matt.
And Root Beer's still in Japan, or I think he's on the flight back from it, but he's not here. So we're recording this at a reasonable hour again. All fun and good. So today, what we're going to talk about was the concept of structure decks or trial decks in Vanguard's case, and how to do a good one. Because it looks like Bushiroad might have made a good one, finally. All it took was completely face planting from the last round of them. But this one, Stardust Blade, which is coming out in November. So it's going to be $18 in US.
Okay. It's
so like
average price.
Yeah, like we got the confirmation about it a couple hours ago. But our big criticism of the quick start decks last time, if you might remember, was that only the main Vanguard had an effect, and then the rest of the cards were literally vanillas. And then you still had the real versions of the cards in the set itself, so you'd have to buy the trial deck and then go into the set itself to get the same cards you would have in the trial deck. Do you remember this at all? Or
Yeah.
Because and they also were the only way to get the energy crest.
Yeah.
So I actually got to see this happen in front of me at my locals last week. So some guy was learning to play Vanguard, and his wife had bought him the Cristianos, the Stoicheia TD. And he's sitting there looking at the cards, and he goes, why don't they have any effects? And then we have to explain it to him that he has to get up and go look through the store's bulk for the cards that should have been in there in the first place. So yeah, just awful. This is a little different. Stardust Blade is a Dragon Empire TD, comes with a pre-constructed deck, 54 cards, and the Energy Crest. So one piece of Rewrite the Star, Virgila, which is, I think, the main guy from the manga, right? I think.
Sure, I wouldn't know.
And Stardust Blade, and one random card among the 6 new cards, which will be included with foil treatment. 3 foil cards in total. Staple PR cards, so of one of Union the Sky and one of Burning Flail Dragon, which is the crit that goes in Soul to give 2k after a boost, or Flare Veil Dragon, which is the draw trigger with the 10k shield, or Blaze Maiden Parama, which is the front with the extra shield. So you get one of those, which they probably should just do it at 4 of, but the bar is very low. Also, one Elementaria Sanctitude. So it says one piece of Elementaria Sanctitude will be included randomly. I'm not really sure what they mean by one piece. But MSRP.
One card. They call this is pretty directly translated from the Japanese, and probably done so through an automatic translator. And when you do that, you end up with piece a lot from.
Okay, one copy, probably one copy.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's one card basically.
Yeah, and they gave us the list here on the bottom, and it says brand new cards under development. There we have a guess based on this quick start deck that was in Japan only, where it's got Virgila and all of his support cards here. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but looking through them, they look pretty solid, especially for a TD. Like they have a grade 2 in there that's got 15k shield.
Sure, seems good to me.
Yeah, and gets, I think, 10k power or something. It's this guy, I think.
Wait! Something gaining shield and power?
No. Okay, all right. So Ezerwur, grade 2, 15k power, has 15k shield, doesn't gain shield.
Oh, I see. It's just on the card.
Yeah, and then mate unit, so Legion fans.
Oh, you have to play it with the dude.
Virgila, yeah. So it cannot be ridden and can only be called Rearguard or Guardian Circle if you have a Vanguard with Virgila,
which is pretty good.
Yeah. Like that's so simple, but I think that would be cool.
You know how much easier this is than printing if your Vanguard is blank plus 5K?
Well, okay, well, there's the explanation text of what a mate unit is, but in the future, yeah, where you can just be like mate, bam, okay, you can only play this with Liel or whatever the name is. The rest of the effects are pretty simple, but Vergila, the grade 3 is a very simple and very solid card. So act on Van once per turn, Energy Blast 3. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards, bind it, choose a grade 2 unit from your drop, call it to rear. Great, awesome.
All right.
And
solid.
then auto on Van when it attacks, counterblast 1, choose one of your grade 2 rear guards and stand it.
Easy, simple. This is kind of how and fine enough, right? You feel like you're doing something here.
Yeah.
I think this is like pretty reasonable, like learning the game card. Like you're still doing mechanics that matter, but none of the mechanics are terribly complicated.
Yes.
Which
it is
pretty nice.
Very Paladin-esque, right? Okay, kill something, stand something. There's your 4 attacks. It's looking at the rest of the cards, it's a very straightforward, and that's what it's supposed to be for.
And it feels, I think this is going to feel pretty powerful too, because like imagine you're a new player, right? And the whole thing is they want to set up the new player discovering something for themselves. So the new player is going to intercept with the grade 2 and then be like, I just call it back again. That's kind of what they're going for, I think.
Like setting up your child figures out something in school.
Yeah, you kind of lead them a little bit, but have them complete it themselves. This is actually just honestly the best way for somebody to learn something, but you don't have the time for that.
Yes, but student-led education, right?
Right. But who has the time?
Who has the time?
Sometimes, yeah. And sometimes, but I think this is a pretty easy, straightforward way to do it. Because you're like, oh, this seems like a really good thing to call back. It gives me, it's 15K attacker at least. Maybe you don't boost the first time. 15, and then you attack with this thing, stand it, 23 or more.
Yeah.
And then you just have 15K interceptor again.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
The art I think also goes a long way here. So Vergila for listeners, right? If you're just listening on Spotify or something, he's this white dragon with red accents, and that will stand out on a store shelf.
I will say this card looks like it's part of a different game.
It does. It's the background.
It looks like an old card, I should say. It looks like a card from BT7.
I just have to. Leopold is from also BT07. Does that? Yeah, I guess so. Or it's just kind of a plain background.
It's plain background. That has foiling on it. So if you imagine just Leopold, just in the card art.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just standing on a rock with a green background, and then this guy is just on. Whoops, wrong tab. He's just on a red
But also there's there's very little shading, or there's enough shading so you can tell what things are, but it's very cartoony.
It looks like a comic book character. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, exactly. Which I also think is what they're going for.
Well, because it is a manga, right?
Right. But I think it's cool.
So I think not only is this good for helping get people into the game on the quick start decks, but I'm gonna buy one of these, not just for extra copies of the Dragon Empire, Traders, More Sanctitude, blah blah blah, but being able to go, I want to teach Vanguard to somebody, take this.
And I think there's not a lot of extra explanation needed for these mechanics, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. Nexus at Night lore by this point, but us teaching our friend Jared in the diner to play Spike Brothers before the regional.
Good bit.
But if it was how the game is now, and we taught him this, it would have taken half the time. Easy. I think this is a very solid product. But I also wanted to talk about like trial decks, structure decks on the whole, because me getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh recently and looking at how they release structure decks versus like how does Magic do it?
Or does Magic even still do structure decks?
I don't know.
Let's find out, shall we?
Okay.
All right. It seems like they do them, but this is Commander. Let me see here. Because Magic for a long time would just like have pre-constructed decks about something,
mm-hmm.
and then they would just the precons just always fucking sucked for the most part. Like very rarely there would have a card that you would give any shits about, but very rarely, because they want them to be like pretty simple product, or they want them to be like a bridge from like the starter product that they once created into the advanced product.
Right.
But yeah, they were generally pretty bad. Okay, so they are making. So then they're all on Arena now.
Oh, they teach people through Arena.
Yeah, Arena is like the starter decks now. So the last starter deck that they had
in paper
was there's so many commanders. Okay, there's starter kits which come with random cards. I'm not sure if those are the same, but like usually the starter decks would come with like 2 rares, or like at least back in the day, and like a bunch of random other cards with a million lands in them.
Okay.
But I'm trying. I'm gonna scroll way down because again, it's been a long time since we've had like proper starter decks in Magic.
Right. But that's interesting where Magic as a brand goes, okay, if you want to learn, go to Arena and we'll teach you there. And then if you want to move on to paper, you can.
There were tons of welcome decks, and eventually, like with the packs, they started, or the decks, they just gave packs with them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like you get the deck and it has the packs like in the.
Yeah, it just has some boosters in it. Basically.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that some of these are actually decks. Oh, theme deck. Here we go. Explorers of Ixalan theme deck. Yeah. So this deck came with. God, what is even some of these cards? Okay, so this one's a tribal-based deck, so it has for pirates, and it comes with Shared Animosity, which basically if you attack with a bunch of creatures of the same type, you have that in there. But that card's not particularly good. Like it boosts the attack of all creatures of a type if you attack with multiple of a type.
Mm-hmm.
But like that card sucks.
But if your goal is to like teach someone new, is that a concept that's like easy to get grasp a hold of, and B fun, right?
I think what Magic does incorrectly is they like want to shove these cards on theme, but like allowing people to look at creature types and like benefit creature types can come in a lot of different ways. Like they have Adaptive Automaton, which does the same thing that you call pirate. You're like, oh, every creature in my deck's a pirate. I'm going to call pirate with this Adaptive Automaton and give them all +1/+1.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's enough. And the rest is just navigating the game after that.
Yeah.
And then they put like dumb cards like Blatant Thievery in there, which is a 7 mana sorcery that takes a permanent from your opponent. Which is like not particularly good.
Okay.
It's funny when you cast it, I suppose. But I don't know. I just feel like Magic has done this with their theme decks for a long time.
Gotcha. For Yu-Gi-Oh, like 20 years ago, it was the Blue Eyes, the Dark Magician, the Red Eyes, Black Dragon on the front. So like that's what attracts someone's eye to it. And then the rest of the deck is like one-ups.
Yep.
And so you would have to buy 3 to get everything you needed. And that practice continues today, But the decks themselves changed, where instead of it being about a particular monster on the front or a particular character, it's an archetype usually. So, like the Monarch structure deck, the Trap Trick structure deck, these were both like structure decks that made a big impact because they had so many just staples in them. You did Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring and Infinite and Permanent, stuff like that. So especially like for Trap Tricks, like my introduction back into Yu-Gi-Oh! After over a decade was the Trap Tricks TD, because I was in a Target one day and I was like, huh. My friend Dan told me those were good. Shit. And then I just bought 3 of them. And then was like, there wasn't a lot that I had to do to upgrade it. And you're off to the races from there. But being able to have a semi-competitive deck by buying 1 to 3 of them or 2 of them, like Vanguard's old TDs, where you would buy 2 and you would have everything.
Magic tried this at one point with something called I don't remember their specific name for them, but they're basically like almost just pre-constructed decks at some point.
Okay.
And that they would like sell them as with a sideboard as like a way to just like buy it and play an event.
With a sideboard is an interesting one. That's pretty cool.
And it was like, I don't know how long that lasted though.
The TDs at the beginning of Overdress were pretty good, mostly just because the game was being rebooted again. And that was the only option. But since then, there hasn't really been a good one until now with this. So I hope that Bushiroad, like Root Beer said in our group chat, Bushiroad knows how to make a competent product for English. They just don't want to.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I'm not sure if it's done out of malice or whatever, or incompetence or what. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Like, do you think they thought they were making the right choice with the quick start decks?
I think that there's probably a lack of communication between Bushiroad US, whoever manages the US Bushiroad branch and the Japanese Bushiroad branch, about how marketing has to be different in the United States than it is, say, in Japan.
Makes sense.
And that's probably it, because they're very different situations.
Yeah.
And
the promo thing was also like a big difference in how like tournaments are held in the US versus Japan. And there's some episode we did about them a while ago. It's the one with broken toys in the thumbnail. But like, because Japan has better public transit and the city is more closely packed together than it is out here, it's just you have maybe 1 locals that you go to, and maybe and then for people like me, I'm in LA. That's the big city, and if I want to go to a second one, it's 45 minutes that way. So it's just not a thing there. So maybe in their head they were thinking, oh, with the quick start is like fun to go hunting for the cards. And it's like, we live under the boot of capitalism here. It's not fun for us. So
right.
Good on them for like correcting course with this. I hope they continue with TDs of this nature for the other nations. I haven't read any of the Vanguard manga, so I don't know if there's like other characters with other nations that they can, play off of there. But if anyone has anything about that in the comments, please let me know.
But I do think this looks like a solid product, at least from what I'm told. $18 is pretty reasonable for what you're getting, I think.
Yeah.
But also, like, the important thing is when people are learning a game, they want to feel like what they're doing is impactful and fun.
Yes.
And they can definitely fail to do that. I mean, Vanguard used to just want you to buy freaking 4 TDs just for a card or 2.
Yeah.
Which was not ideal.
Yeah, that was more Konami-esque in that practice, where it's like, oh, this particular TD has this staple.
But you're not getting staples in Vanguard. You're getting like a card you need for some deck, like one deck. Like it's less bad in Yu-Gi-Oh when you're getting like Infinite Impermanence or Ash Blossom or whatever.
Dark Ruler No More, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so that feels less bad, I think, because you're like, these cards are pretty good. I don't mind having, you can drop $30 on the extra whatever. But in Vanguard, when you need like, oh, I need my 4 12K beaters, and you drop $50, it feels really horrible.
I hated how expensive those were back in the day.
Like they were like $12
for some clits. Yes, why? Yeah,
and they were only in the TD that was $12, and you're like, okay, well, what else do I need in this TG? Oh, the grade 1's pretty good, but you're gonna have like 20 of those, and you're like, cool.
Yeah. Now, granted, the premium deck set that we got recently, the Neo Nectar Jewel Knight Revenger one, that came with an Elementaria and came with a Harmonix Messiah. Though the deck sets were expensive, it released enough like copies of them out there to where Harmonix Messiah is way cheaper than it was months ago, and premium is no longer the like wallet busting trap that it was. Because that was always the hump that I like to explain to people, or like, I want to get into premium, but Harmonix is like $60. Not anymore. To my knowledge, it's I think in the teens somewhere. Let me just corroborate that. But yeah, that's probably the closest there is to like a staple that you need in a particular TD for Vanguard. Yeah,
Vanguard just has less of them, mostly due to how the game is constructed.
Right.
But there are some games like Pokemon just has a metric shit ton
of staples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all the trainers could be like played in like half the decks, right? Mm-hmm. So like even if a trainer is not played in every deck, it's played in a lot of them.
Right.
Like
so looking on TCG Player at the time of recording this, it's $15. And you only need one. And you can move it around to whichever deck. So
like Iono, I think, right? And Pokemon is like you're just playing this card all the time.
Yeah. More or less. So yeah, what do you think makes for a good structure deck or trial deck? What do you think of the new one? Leave a like or a comment below.
So how many of these are they're gonna be?
I don't know. So far, it's just this one.
Interesting.
I don't know if they then take the other characters in the manga and make more of those, or what exactly. Well, but I hope they like keep that same model. $18 for something pretty solid, and maybe looks like a cartoon, but that's kind of the point. It's the manga,
right?
So yeah, at Nexus at Night and all the places. If you want to follow us, support the show, patreon.com/Nexus at Night. Thanks to Darren, Cole, Josh, Jeremy, GRL, Lee, and Tony, our $10 patrons. If you want to be like them, $10 a month, you get that, or the thanks and your stuff a day early. Or if you just want a bonus show, give us $5 a month. You get bonus show with me, Matt, and Root Beer. Or maybe one less of those, depending on the week. Or if you just want the access to our Discord, it's $1. How about you, good sir?
You can find me at Wiggums, 2 G's, 2 Z's, as it says there on the Twitter.
You can also... sorry, what?
Oh, no, nothing.
You can follow Root Beer at Plasma Eclipse on the Twitter. He'll be back next week. You can follow me at Atlas Novak. In all the places, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, all that good stuff. My other podcasts are Generation Dan, which is about generational differences. We just talked about Biden stepping down from the presidency in our newest episode, and Last Minute History, which is on that same channel. And our last episode was about the history of mixology, which sounds stupid, but it was really fun. So all that good stuff. So thanks, everybody, for listening. And until next time, I was Atlas.
I'm still Matt.
And have a good night, everybody. Happy almost August, everyone. Welcome to Nexus Tangents, the bonus show brought to you by you, the patrons. I'm Atlas.
I'm Matt.
Oh, August is when we go back to school or
Get
work or whatever.
Get owned.
Did you work this summer?
I'm doing some stuff, yeah.
Okay.
Nothing terribly interesting, however.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm keeping myself busy.
That's good. I didn't work this summer just because I didn't really want to. And Katie was like, next year you should like volunteer for summer school because you got a little like stir crazy.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Which it's true. I definitely became a little more feral. I was like going to the library or the Starbucks just to be somewhere else, and writing or I don't know. Like the trip to go visit Dan and my work training were like the highlights of the summer just because it's somewhere to go, something to do.
Yeah, definitely doing something is really valuable.
Yes.
It's a long time to just be sitting around.
Yeah. I think what I should do is because I did 2 shows during my trip to go see Dan. And I think what I want to do for next summer, because I didn't realize how easy it was to get up in small towns in LA. Because there is a Facebook group for every like town from LA to Modesto to Timbuktu. There is a name of town Facebook or comedy Facebook group. And me going on to the Eugene one and being like, hi, I'm a comic from Los Angeles. Do you have any shows that you're doing? And just I need to do that for next year and just do a little thing up the coast. That would be cool.
There you go.
I think that's what I want to do next summer. Although I should volunteer for summer school because it's like the right thing to do. But they didn't really pester me about it because I was new. And now it's not my first year anymore. How long have you been in the field of teaching?
Too long. 2011.
Okay. All right. So you know the ups and downs by now. Yeah.
I definitely have had summers of doing nothing.
And?
Which is, I mean, it's kind of annoying, but
mm-hmm.
You can find stuff to do on the side pretty easily.
Yeah. At least you were like, I mean, this summer, like not, you were keeping yourself busy with like fighting game stuff.
I mean, often, yeah. Or like, but like, it doesn't have to be that. You can go work somewhere.
Yeah. And like, I am salaried, so it's not like I was just, starving for money. I just got paid every month.
Right.
Which was cool.
Sometimes you just work at a random place and do dumb bullshit for them.
Yeah.
All the time. Every place has things that nobody wants to do. Like look at invoices.
Like what?
Look at invoices.
Look at invoices? Yeah. I think that'd be different with an English major. They're like, don't.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I remember working as a receptionist at a weed dispensary. That was definitely one where they didn't want to do it. And they're just like, anybody else, please.
I also would not want to do that.
Yeah. This was when it was still medicinal in California, too. So I had to, like, check IDs and look for the prescription. Annoying. It was, yeah. But it did become recreationally legal about halfway through, so that got easier from there.
I would imagine, yeah.
Very easy job.
And that place just like got shut down randomly, right?
Yeah, it shut down about 3 months after I left, for one reason or another. I'm not really sure why. I don't think they were operating illegally, but I think it was just the owners kind of didn't give a shit. My manager was holding that place together with duct tape. So
very funny.
Very funny indeed. Greenberry, wherever you are out there in the heavens, whatever that warehouse has become. Hope you're okay, everybody. Yeah. I go back August 12th. And I'm already starting to get the bloodborne pathogens email, and people who have worked jobs before, that's a training that I think literally every job makes you do, from teachers to hospital workers to office workers. You gotta do that. Like, hey man, don't touch a heroin needle that's on the ground. That's a cool idea, but they make you do it every year for some reason.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that somebody would do that.
I understand absolving them of reliability, but it's not like it stops being the case from one year to the next and you have to renew it. Like, we still got it. Still don't touch the heroin needle. Cool. I just don't understand, to be honest.
Nobody ever will.
Yeah. So I made Blangmeyer, just sneak peek. You guys will see the profile for that this coming week when you hear this. But I was playing with my friend yesterday, and I wasn't really enjoying it all that much. And mostly because I have this problem where I don't know when to do the divine skill. Like, when do you pop the once per game thing to try and kill them?
When do you think you can? Usually.
Have you ever played an RPG and you're like, I can't use an ether. I can't. I have to save it. I have to save it for the end of the game.
Yeah, and then you end up with like 20 of them at the end of the game, and never use them.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm like that with the divine skill, where I'm like, what if I need it for later? You know.
Yeah, I think you just kind of should be like, I mean, if you don't use it, you lose it. So might as well use it at some point. I think the first time you can gain significant advantage is probably the best time to do it.
I played against a guy with Luard, and I did the divine skill, and then he OT healed on 6, and then he killed me next turn.
Look, but that doesn't make it the wrong decision.
I know, but it was frustrating. That's all.
I mean, yeah.
But that same friend, he's like, I'm bored of Welstra. I'm like, do you want to deck swap and like see if we enjoy it? And I like Welstra because the right time to do the divine skill is the first time you ride Welstra. There is no other time that you need to do it that way.
But
and it seems kind of, I had a good time playing it, and I sort of want to deck swap with him, but I'm not really sure if I should. Because, again, it's the same thing, right? Like, what if I end up wanting Blangmeyer later? Like, what's wrong with me?
You just got to do it.
Just got to do it?
Yeah, it's just, we have so a lot of fighting games have these kinds of mechanics where once per match you'll get to do something cool.
Yeah,
and I'm going to use Samurai Showdown as an example because that has the funniest one.
Okay.
So, Samurai Showdown has one called Rage Explosion, where basically, like, if you're in like, you can do it basically anytime you're grounded. Like, even if you're in hit stun or whatever, you can burst out of the combo and you put into this like rage mode. Or I shouldn't call it rage. I should call it, I don't know what the bar is called actually.
Okay.
But during it, you gain access to another ability called Lightning Slash or Esen. And it's just like a really fast slash that deals a bunch of damage based on your missing health to your opponent.
Oh, like the delta between the two? Or
no, like if your health is lower, it deals more damage.
Yeah, so like if you're at low health and your opponent's at high health, you deal more damage compared to like here.
But
once
you do Rage Explosion, after you Esen, the rage bar is gone forever. Even the meter you would gain before. So normally in Samurai Showdown, you gain meter by taking damage. That bar is gone.
Oh.
So by making the choice to do this, you're giving up your rage for the rest of the match. So this one is kind of like, hey, maybe I don't want to do this at the first opportunity because I lose access to this resource for the remaining match. But when you're in round 3, you're hitting that shit. The second anything happens, you're like, I'm out of here.
Okay. As soon as you think you can close out the game with it.
Well, when everyone's in the Rage Explosion mode, so everyone knows that Esen exists, right?
Yeah.
It's very fast. If you whiff a button, you die. because it deals like half your health.
Yeah.
Like Samurai Showdown is a huge damage game. Like if somebody lands a good jumping on you, you're taking half your health.
Wow.
If you whiff something big and they get an SSM punish on you, you're probably taking 70%.
Mm-hmm.
But SSM is also you can only do it once per. Yeah, you can only do the SSM ones as well.
What is the SSM? Is that
super special move or something? But basically, like it's just like a huge damage attack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does in fact stand for super special move. I thought it was something cooler than that, but it is in fact not.
Super Smash Bros. Melee. No.
Yeah. But it can only be attempted once per game, whether it hits or not.
Okay.
But because that one doesn't take away your rage bar, the first opportunity you're presented to SSM your opponent and get a guaranteed hit, you will take it.
Got it. Now,
because it doesn't lose a resource.
How much space is there between you and your opponent at any given time? Is it so like, for example, in a game like Street Fighter, where you can kind of space your opponent away, versus like Mortal Kombat, where you're trying to get up in their face?
So Samurai Showdown is played at a bit further ranges and is at a lot slower pace, generally speaking.
Okay.
Moves are quite slow in Samurai Showdown and very committal, but there's a lot of RPS along on like when you block an attack, you'll be recoiling, but you can actually cancel that recoil, which is a whole mind game in itself, really.
So like L canceling in Melee?
No, it's like an intended mechanic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like they know that you can recoil cancel.
So and design the game around that.
Mm-hmm. It's like it's a very important part of how the game is played.
Yeah,
but like jumping is slow. A lot of characters have big anti-air moves. All the buttons are massive. So like you're really worried about, and then like half the cast has projectiles and projectile reflectors. So it's pretty funny. Like it's played like really far away. Or if you want to, there are some characters who can play it really close. But for the most part, people are like, "Get in my face."
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, like
so the SSM you want to use immediately because it's a difficult thing to capitalize on for the most part, and you don't really lose anything for using it immediately if it hits. Like if it hits, you're just like, "Great, I won the round immediately" because it does like 700 damage, and which is 70%. And then you go to the next round, you're up a round, and you still have rage.
Yeah,
but
rage.
When rage explosion, you lose your rage for the other rounds. You don't want to do it the first round generally.
Right.
Spend it.
Just spend it.
Or meter, like in fighting games, if you're near capped on meter, why are you not spending it? And so I think the second you can gain reasonable advantage from the divine skill,
you should. Yeah. And like that's what I liked so much about Welstra is there is no like, why are you not doing it? This isn't a big like explosion-y move. It's to gain significant advantage so that you can do the big explosion-y moves later with your products.
Yeah, just treat it like sparking in Dragon Ball FighterZ, where you just do it the first opportunity that presents itself.
Yeah, exactly. I should give that more of a try because I said let me think about it for a week and then because we priced out the decks and it's roughly about the same with all the bells and whistles, which is cool, and I get to keep my blue OT, so yay, don't have to give that up in the deck swap. So yeah, I'm not really sure I know the comment section is mostly unused, but what do you guys think? Should I deck swap for Welstra or should I keep the Blangmeyer? This is one thing I'm glad Root Beer isn't here for because he has so many decks that it's hard to get like the right answer there. Where he's like, well, I just have all of them, so this doesn't really apply to me for the most part. Set 3 is going to be a big pain in the butt because I got to get the Silhouette Man stuff and the Pale Moon stuff, and I think that's it for the most part. So that's cool.
So,
what else is going on in your life?
Oh, not too much. I've been playing a lot of fighting games.
Is that ever not the case?
No, but
yeah,
for the most part, I was watching there's this SNK, the company who makes Campfighters, re-released with Code Mystics working on the netcode, an old game called SNK versus Capcom Chaos. So most people have heard of Capcom versus SNK, which is a beloved old series of games. The other side of which was made by Capcom. The other side of the coin is SNK versus Capcom, which is made by SNK. And this game exists. It is a made-up video game, though.
How all of them are. How good or bad is it compared to Marvel versus Capcom, for example?
It is, well, first it's a 1v1 fighter.
Okay.
Second, it is very messed up.
Go on.
Like, there are characters with touch of death, infinites. Boss characters are ridiculously strong. Some hitbox. There's a lot of funny hitbox interactions. There's unblockable setups. Everything you would want in a video game to make it like as bizarre and could be bad as you want, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I would not call it a good video game, but it is a funny video game.
Gotta love a funny video game.
So there's a character called Mars People. It's one of the aliens from Metal Slug, which is an SNK title.
Okay.
And they have a teleport, which they can do for funny and unblockable stuff.
Yeah.
They have probably the best Exceed, which is like a hidden special move in the game.
Okay, so like the rage thing, or
yeah, it does like a full life bar of damage and is like fast as shit and also an overhead.
Mm-hmm.
It's very funny.
That is pretty funny.
And so somebody was playing that last night, and they also just summon like UFOs that like shoot down like projectiles. They have really like weird floating projectiles that are hard to avoid. It's all hilarious. But this game is made up. It is not real. It's so funny. I don't know what SNK was cooking.
Whenever you say something is made up, it's not real. It just reminds me of do you watch some more news?
No,
at all. So it's a news show on YouTube, and it's Cody Johnston from Cracked. What?
Yeah, I'm familiar with like the concept.
Oh, okay, but he like every once in a while he'll be like, money isn't real, we made it up, and that's always what I think of.
Yeah, it's a funny game. I would check out the VOD for that. Tampa Never Sleeps held a tournament for it last night. The VOD is pretty funny, especially once you get to top 8.
Okay,
where some of the Mexican players definitely know what they're doing. Zero, the Mega Man character, is just destined to be top tier in every game that Zero is in for some reason.
He's a fan favorite or something, right?
Sure.
Got to make that shit top tier, or else your game's not going to sell.
Just has every tool imaginable in SVC Chaos, including an Infinite.
Oh,
the Infinite is quite hard though. You have to do like and I don't know if you're familiar with like a Tiger Knee input in Street Fighter, but so you're familiar with the quarter circle forward, right?
Yes.
So let's say that you had an air special that was a quarter circle forward, right?
Okay.
So if you jump and then do quarter circle forward, that's kind of slow because you have to wait for your jump and then do quarter circle forward, right?
Yeah.
Another thing you could do is quarter circle forward and then
jump
up, right?
Oh.
So you go quarter circle forward, up forward. So that puts in the jump at the end, right?
Yeah.
And then you hit the button for the special. So now you're doing the air special very low to the ground.
Yes.
Which is sometimes ideal.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy with a quarter circle because it's a natural motion from down to up forward. right? Like you're following the edges
yeah.
or the stick, you're just like rolling it up, down, forward.
Yeah.
The problem with Zero is you need to do a Tiger Knee DP input. So Dragon Punch input is forward, down, down, forward. So where's my thing? So forward, down, down, forward. Or forward, down, down, forward. So you have to do like a Z motion, right?
Okay.
And then you want to go up.
Back up or something, right?
Yeah, some silly like that.
Okay.
Which is annoying.
That is annoying. Because if it's forward, down. Okay, yeah.
And it's really easy to miss time and drop it. So it's
bummer. Gotta love those characters where it's like they're very complicated to learn, but they're once you get it, it's fun. It's I like decks and characters like that, or just like in Smash Bros. I really like characters that are good in the air and just fucking around on like short hop aerial, like
half the cast.
But just like characters like Wario and Young Link and Villager, like they have a lot of air options. Yeah, and like their ground game is dog shit, so it's fun.
That's not steep at all.
That's not steep at all. Oh, like
Steve.
learning them.
No, Steve.
Oh, Steve.
Everyone's favorite Smash character.
Isn't he like at the top now or something? Like they kept upgrading him.
Yeah, Steve is quite good.
Gotta get those kids to play Minecraft.
But I would never watch Ultimate. Ultimate feels bad to me. The buffer is too big.
The buffer is in like what?
So you know how like let's say you press a button when like something is like can't come out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then a buffer basically will be like, well, the next time it's like so within a window, like the buffer window, the next time an action is available, we'll check your whatever you buffered.
Yeah.
And just do that.
Okay.
So you want it to be enough, but not like massive. Because if it were like 30 frames, which is half a second, right?
Yeah.
Then that means you could press it like, let's say, you're shielding something, right? And you're like, I'm going to do this out of shield. And then they do something else. And you're like, wait, but you did it like forever ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes out like, a quarter of a second later.
Yeah.
You don't want it anymore. You're like,
That's fair.
But I think in Ultimate it's 9 frames, which is about a sixth of a second.
Okay.
Which is sizable. Street Fighter buffer is 3 frames.
Wow.
Which is quite tight, but still enough. Melee buffer is 0 frames. Not buffering shit for you. You just gotta fucking input that. You just gotta raw dog that. Which I think a 0 frame buffer is actually preferable to a big buffer. It makes the game feel much snappier.
Yeah.
To me.
It makes sense. Where you're like, I want this to happen, but it's not happening because I have to wait a second or half a second.
But I think like Multiverses had like 30 frame default, and I'm just like, no, I'm good. I'm not messing around with that. They can keep that. I will be far away. But yeah, then there are other games that like do like very weird buffer stuff. Like KOF does something with supers, where it'll do where if you hold the button, it'll buffer it like for at least like up to particular time. But when you let go, it stops checking. But only for like very specific things.
Oh,
so like basically, it means you don't need to like time. Like if you're canceling a super into super, it means you don't need to like time when to cancel the next super. Basically. He was like, yeah, like around here. And you just hold the button and it'll probably happen. As long as you're not too late. Which is pretty cool.
That's pretty dope.
I just wish it was in every other game.
We can only hope.
But now I'm really excited for the new game that's coming out next year, City of the Wolves.
That just sounds like a book. Like some novel.
It's a new Fatal Fury game.
Okay. Or a young woman's journey from Milan to Minsk. Rochelle. What? Seinfeld? No? Oh. Well, shit. I'm sorry. Also, your microphone sounds very far away.
Ah,
Okay, there you go. Better.
I'll yell and that'll fix it.
Oh, of course.
It got pushed out when I was adjusting things. My fault.
Gotcha. I thought the microphone was the headset.
Oh no, I don't use this mic.
Yeah.
This mic.
Oh, okay.
I don't use it.
It's
I use
down
a
there.
different mic. It's this one.
Gotcha.